Hey guys, it's Siobhan with To Kitty and Beyond. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about an interesting phenomenon I've been noticing lately, and it has to do with jumping timelines, which I've talked about in the past with my deja vu theory energy update, but it's been kind of happening in a different way. So this isn't really deja vu related. This is more like time blips or like weird alternate realities. So kind of how I've been experiencing this is both within myself and in the people around me have been having these effects as well. It almost feels like all of a sudden you blank out, you forget how to do something, you don't know what's going on, like you have no memory, like Gandalf, I have no memory of this place. It's like this weird blanking moment, like a blank, like you go blank for a second and then you kick back in. And also, in addition to that, I've also had really weird, I'm noticing things that seem different. Like I could have sworn that I picked that up and I moved that there, and then all of a sudden it's not where I put it. And I'm noticing that there's things on my body that look a little bit different than they did the day before. And I wake up and I'm like, what? How is that possible? I'm still me, I'm still in the same body, but it looks a little bit different and I can't quite put my finger on it. And little things like that, just little tiny throughout the day, weird sort of happenstances. And I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. And what I'm associating this with is timeline shifting. So when we go through really big shifts in our consciousness, we basically jump timelines. So this can happen in the extreme when we have like a timeline convergence, which is what I associate with deja vu. And then in other circumstances, it's a timeline jump, which is where you quite literally just move to a whole different timeline, and you're still you, but you're in a different, like, alternate reality, if you get me. So, like, you still associate yourself with you, everything kind of remains the same, but there may be little tiny changes that you can notice, and you might kind of brush them off and go, oh yeah, I'm just imagining that, or oh, that was always like that, but it wasn't. And this is kind of where the whole Mandela Effect theory comes in. Like, I'm seeing this on very small scale day-to-day occurrences for myself. But when you look at the Mandela Effect, this is worldwide. This affects everyone, or at least those of us who have jumped timelines. So for example, one of my favorite Mandela Effects, because I'm such a Disney fan, is the fact that Disney used to have an S on the end of it. It used to be Disney's Lion King, Disney's Cinderella. And you go back in the history books now, and that's not true. It's now always been Disney and then the name of the movie. And I distinctly know for a fact that it was Disney's. And another one is that related to Disney, for those of you who are Disney fans like me, there used to be this Disney opening where Tinkerbell would come in and she would fly over the castle, and then she would go ding and she would hit the little eye with a sparkly thing, and then it would start the movie. And apparently that doesn't exist anymore. Like, that's just not a thing. And you can research it, you can go and Google this on your own, but apparently it doesn't exist. It never existed, and there's a large group of people who remember this existing. So this is where we jump timelines. We've moved into an alternate reality where some of the people in that reality will have no memory recollection of this whatsoever because they weren't in the original reality. But those of us who have shifted consciousness move into this new reality, and all of a sudden we're like, wait a second, this is different. I remember this. And the most noteworthy and the most famous Mandela effect, well, besides the actual Mandela incidents, where half the people believed that he had died in jail, but he actually didn't, and he lived for years and years after that. There's also the Berenstain Bears. And I know for me personally speaking, I remember distinctly, I had so many of those books. I used to read them every night. And even my mom remembers that it was Berenstain with an E at the end. Well, not at the end, but in E-I-N. And now it's A-I-N, Berenstain. And that's just wrong. Like, that's just wrong. But again, it's an example of timeline jumping. And it's very hard to comprehend how this can happen because we're still in a physical body. We're still in what appears to be the same place. We're still what appears to be the same world. But our consciousness has kind of slipped into an alternate reality because it matches that altered frequency. And I noticed that these things happen around really significant points in my consciousness, in my awareness. So, for example, the last few days around the full moon, I was having some pretty serious shifts in my awareness. Like I felt things differently. I'm seeing things differently, and I'm seeing myself differently for the first time in my 30 years on this planet. And that's really, really significant. Like for the first time ever, it's like the lights went on in an area of my life that they had been dark. So that right there is, to me, quantifiable evidence as to how these shifts happen. We go through massive shifts in consciousness, we shift timelines, we get little blips and things like that don't line up, but that's okay. And it's actually a good thing. So if you're experiencing these things, please know that it's normal. It's nothing to be freaked out about. You're not going crazy. You're not having a psychotic break. You're not losing your memory. You're not going through some pre-menopausal, or maybe you are menopausal, but that's okay too. These things are still real. It doesn't take away from that fact. So I hope that you guys are kind of on the same page as me. And if not, then that's totally fine. But I highly recommend that you go and research this effect if you haven't already. I feel like most of you who are on this channel are pretty far sort of down the rabbit hole with me. So you probably know about the Mandela effect already, and timeline shifting and deja vu and all that good stuff. But if not, then oh, honey, you got some research to do. It's going to be an interesting day. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I love you. I'm just going to leave it there for today. If you guys would like a reading with me or a Reiki session or any services that I offer, you can check that out in the description box below and email me at services.2kittyandbeyond@gmail.com. I thank you so much for being here, for listening, for sticking through this channel with me, supporting the channel, supporting me in my work, reaching out for sessions, reaching out for readings, allowing me to connect with you on this soul level through the evolution of your soul journey, of your soul, and of the collective ascension of the earth. Like, thank you guys, seriously. All right, we'll see you next time.